Hey there, welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Emily. Today's episode is one we really need to talk about, because so many learners say this one sentence that breaks my heart. I'm just bad at English.
Yeah. I hear that all the time. People say it like it's a fact. Like a label that's been stamped on them forever.
Exactly. But here's the truth, you're not bad at English. You're just overwhelmed. And that's very different.
Totally different. Think about it, you're juggling vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, listening, speaking, confidence, culture, maybe even exams, all at once. That's not a language problem. That's a load problem.
It's like trying to carry 5 suitcases up a staircase at the same time. Of course you're going to trip. That doesn't mean you're bad at climbing stairs. It just means you're carrying too much.
And no one really teaches you how to break it down, how to breathe through it, how to go one step at a time. Instead, it's just learn English like it's a simple task.
But it's not. It's 100 little pieces. And sometimes, when your brain says, I'm bad at this, it actually means, I don't know where to begin, or I'm tired, or even, I'm scared to fail again.
Yes. And that's why we want to say this clearly, struggling doesn't mean you're bad at English. It means you're human. And humans get tired. Especially when they care a lot and try really hard.
And most learners do care. So much. You want to communicate. You want to feel proud. You want to connect. That's beautiful. But when it gets too heavy, your brain just shuts down a little.
That's not failure. That's your mind asking for a little help. A little kindness. A little space.
And today, we want to give you that space. We want to talk about what overwhelm really looks like when learning English, how it shows up, and how to move through it without turning against yourself.
Because maybe what you need isn't more grammar drills right now. Maybe what you need is someone to say, hey, you're doing a lot. Let's slow down and figure out what actually matters.
Yeah. Let's untangle the mess a little and remind you, you're not broken. You're not hopeless. You're not bad at English. You're just carrying too much. And that can be changed.
Let's talk about how overwhelm actually feels when you're learning. Like, have you ever opened a textbook or a YouTube lesson and your brain just freezes? Not because it's hard, but because it's too much.
Oh yes. It's like your brain's already tired before you even begin. You think, I should study, and immediately you feel anxious, guilty, or just numb. That's not laziness. That's overwhelm.
Exactly. And another sign? You forget things you already know. Like, you learned a word yesterday, and today, it's gone. Then you think, I'm so bad at this, when actually your brain is just saying, I'm full.
Right? It's not about your memory being bad. It's that your brain didn't have time to rest or process. Learning without space to breathe is like pouring water into a cup that's already full.
And sometimes, you start comparing. You see someone on Instagram who speaks English confidently and think, why am I not there yet? But you don't see how long they've been practicing. Or what they struggled with behind the scenes.
Comparison can really feed that negative voice. And suddenly, one small mistake feels like proof that you're a failure, when really, it's just a normal part of learning.
So true. Like, native speakers make mistakes all the time. We forget words, we pause, we say awkward sentences, and no one calls us bad at English.
But learners often judge themselves harder. One grammar error, and they say, I suck at English. But if your inner voice was a teacher, would you want to be in that classroom?
Good point. If your teacher said, you're hopeless every time you made a mistake, you'd walk out, right?
Totally. So what if we changed that inner teacher's tone? What if it said, "You're trying. Let's figure this out together"? That kind of voice keeps you going.
I love that. Because that's what you really need when you're overwhelmed, not more pressure, but more permission. Permission to go slower. Permission to focus on just one small thing.
Yes. Like maybe today, you just review 5 words you already know. Or watch one English video without subtitles and just listen. No pressure to understand everything, just exposure.
Exactly. Or you read something you love, even if it's simple. Or listen to a song in English and try to enjoy it, not translate it. Just enjoy it.
Because when English becomes joyful again, the overwhelm starts to shrink. You remember why you started. And that motivation is way more powerful than perfection.
You know, I think one of the hardest parts is that people often blame themselves for feeling overwhelmed. Like, instead of saying, "This is hard," they say, "I must be the problem."
Yes, and that's so unfair. Because learning a new language is one of the most complex things a person can do. It's emotional, it's mental, it's cultural, it touches everything.
Right? You're not just learning vocabulary. You're learning how to express who you are in a different voice. That's a big deal. It's like building a new version of yourself, from scratch.
And that version still wants to say all the same deep, smart, beautiful things you say in your native language, but suddenly, you don't have all the words.
Which can feel frustrating. Or even embarrassing. You feel like your intelligence is hiding behind your grammar mistakes.
Yeah. But your intelligence is still there. Your humor is still there. Your kindness, your creativity, your passion, none of that disappears, just because you're learning how to say it in English.
And honestly, that's the part that moves me the most. Because every learner I've met, every single one, has something real to say. Something human. And I wish they knew how much that matters.
I know. You're not less, just because you pause or mispronounce something. If anything, it shows your courage. Because you're showing up, even when it's messy.
Exactly. And maybe that's the shift we all need, from trying to sound perfect, to trying to stay connected. With ourselves, with others, with the reason we started.
So if you're listening right now and you've been feeling like you're not good enough, just take a second to breathe. Like, literally, pause. Inhale. Exhale.
And say it with us, "I'm not bad at English. I'm just overwhelmed. And I'm allowed to take it one step at a time."
Say it again if you need to. Out loud or in your mind. Because honestly, that shift in how you speak to yourself might be even more important than the next grammar rule you learn.
And here's another thing, when you're overwhelmed, your brain can't focus on growth. It's just trying to survive. So of course you feel stuck.
Exactly. And when you're stuck, it doesn't mean you're not learning. It just means your brain is asking for a little care. Like a plant that needs water, not more sunlight.
That's such a good metaphor. And sometimes, that water is something super simple. Like going for a walk while listening to your favorite English podcast, hey, maybe even this one.
Or journaling a few sentences in English about how you're feeling. Doesn't matter if the grammar's perfect, what matters is connection with yourself.
Yeah. You know, I once spoke with a learner who said they felt ashamed to say they were tired of learning English. Like, they loved the language, but they felt guilty for needing a break.
Oh, I've heard that too. And I always tell them, even professional athletes rest. Musicians take breaks from practice. Why would learning a language be any different?
Right. Rest is not a weakness. It's part of the process. Sometimes, rest is the lesson.
Wow, yes. That gave me chills. Because so many learners push through with guilt instead of grace. And what they really need is permission to be human.
And maybe also permission to redefine progress. Like, what if progress isn't I learned 100 words this week, but I didn't quit even when I felt discouraged?
Or I gave myself kindness when I forgot something I used to know. That's huge. That's growth. Quiet, invisible growth, but real.
And that's the kind that lasts. Because it's not built on shame. It's built on trust. You trusting yourself again.
And when you start learning from a place of trust, instead of fear, English doesn't feel like a battle anymore. It becomes a journey. A relationship. Even a form of self-care.
Wow, that's powerful. And maybe that's the real goal, not just to speak English fluently, but to speak to yourself more kindly in the process.
And honestly, when we shift our mindset from, I have to be perfect, to I just want to express myself, everything feels lighter. You stop chasing rules, and you start building real connection.
Yes. And think about it, how many conversations do you remember because they were grammatically correct? Probably none. But you remember the ones that made you feel something, right?
Exactly. You remember when someone listened to you. Or when you shared a laugh. Or when you felt seen, even in broken English.
That's why we always say, don't wait to feel fluent before you show up. Start showing up now, in the middle of the mess. That's where the real learning happens.
And sometimes, that means embracing the awkward moments too. Like saying the wrong word and laughing about it. That's not failure, that's bravery.
Totally. Because the only people who never make mistakes are the ones who never try.
And trying, even slowly, even imperfectly, is what moves you forward. That's why feeling overwhelmed doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. And caring is powerful.
So maybe the next time you feel stuck, just pause and ask yourself, what do I need right now? Not, what should I be doing, but what would actually help me feel safe and supported to keep going?
Sometimes the answer is a nap. Or a walk. Or a silly English meme. Or listening to a podcast like this just to feel less alone.
Yeah. Because language learning isn't just academic, it's emotional. And the more we honor that part, the stronger we become. Not just as learners, but as people.
So if you've been carrying this weight, telling yourself you're not good enough, or not smart enough, or too slow, we just want to gently remind you.
You're not falling behind. You're not broken. You're learning something incredible, and you're doing it while also being human, with emotions, stress, responsibilities, and that's huge.
Progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like showing up even when you're tired. Sometimes it looks like choosing rest instead of guilt. And sometimes, it's just remembering that you're not alone.
You're part of a global community of brave people who are all learning how to express their true selves in a new language. And trust us, you belong here.
We hope today's episode helped you feel a little lighter, a little more seen, and a lot more supported. If it did, feel free to share it with someone who might need this message too.
And remember, speaking English isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. And you're doing better than you think.
We'll talk to you again soon. Take care of yourself. You deserve kindness on this journey.
Always. Bye for now.